if you own a property, you often are going to have drain-related issues. Now, depending on when those happen, depends on the age of your property and what type of drain tends to be failing. Today, Mike and I are here to go over some of the most common drain issues that we come across and what we're able to do at Expert Services to fix it. So, Mike, when a customer has a drain-related issue, how do they usually know about it?
When it backs up, when they go to use that fixture and it no longer drains.
Okay, well, do they just kind of wait there? Or, I know that for me, when I'm at a lot of people's houses, they don't tend to even really know what's going on in the drain. How do we at Expert Services figure out what is actually happening that's causing that backup?
So what we do is we try to get them back in service by running a drain machine through it first to clear the water. Once we can get the water down, we use one of our sewer cameras here. This one here is a mini camera. It can go down to as small as an inch line. Then we have other cameras that can go up to as big as a 12-inch line. So these sewer cameras are the specialty equipment that we use to identify issues inside of a sewer pipe or any other drain pipe.
Okay, so if we were to be able to run a camera down a line and we were having some problems with seeing what's actually going on because maybe there's a lot of grease or sludge or buildup that's collecting up on the lens, maybe what would be a good solution to be able to, as far as like a first step, if that's the problem?
So if we can't get it with the cable machine, then our next step to do is what's called a scour jetter, which is a machine that uses high pressure water that'll go through and liquefy whatever kind of grease or debris may be in that line to get it out so we can get a visual inspection on it.
Okay, so I know that when we jet lines, it's a really great tool for being able to remove like light scale, debris. It can cut through roots. I mean, I know it's really high pressure, but I know that there have been times that after we jet it, there's a lot of like really hard mineral buildup on the sides of a pipe. What would typically be causing that, and how do we resolve something like that?
So what would cause that, and what Nate's talking about here, is if you can see on the inside of this pipe, the scale buildup that he's talking about. What typically causes that is everything that we use inside of our home, from hand soap, dish soap, body wash, hair gel, and shaving cream, all has a grease petroleum base to it. And when it separates with the hard water, it sits on these metal pipes and they're very corrosive. And so it interacts with each other, and that's what causes that scale buildup. To get that scale out of there, we use a machine that's called a Picote machine that has chains on it that'll go through there and get rid of this scale buildup that you have here, and ends up giving you a nice, smooth, finished pipe.
Yeah, I noticed that when you're looking at the two of these different types of pipe, this is the exact same pipe, just one was cleaned with a jetter and one was cleaned with a Picote. This one is significantly smoother. Now, is there anything that we can do to actually prevent the water in the future from interacting with that? Or let's say if there's maybe a crack in the pipe?
There is something that we can do. So we have this material here that's called a cure in place liner, and we're able to invert that inside of this pipe to make it plastic instead of metal, and that'll prevent that from happening to you again. So there are many ways that we can repair a pipe without having to tear your home up. And whatever situation you have, we typically have a solution that we can help you guys.
Awesome. I know that we also offer a brush coat technology as well, which allows us to actually, if we're not able to, for any reason, get one of these liners in there, or if you have cracks, or if we're just trying to prevent scale from building up inside of the pipe, we can actually paint on essentially a liner material and paint multiple layers over and over again to prevent that scale from building up. Now, I know that when we're talking about liners and we're talking about other problems with sewers, roots are often a common issue that come through that. Is a liner a good solution for roots infiltration?
A liner is a great solution for roots. As long as that pipe hasn't offset itself by more than 60%, we can install one of these 4-inch PVC cure in place liners that actually prevent against tree roots from growing back into your sewer system.
Okay, so when we're talking about liner material, all of these materials are various types of liner. Now, when they're all seem to be pretty soft, pliable material, they tend to cure and they turn into essentially what this is right here. So you have the existing pipe and it molds to that existing one. And because this is seamless and comes on large rolls, it allows us to be able to prevent any root infiltration. Now, you mentioned a little bit about offsets, or let's say that they maybe have just like one single section that is problematic. Do they need to line their entire sewer line, or can we just do a small piece?
We can do a small piece. They don't need to line their entire sewer line unless it's something they want to do to be preventative to stop this from ever happening again. Typically, when you have one section of pipe that's compromised, it's a matter of time before that rest of the pipe becomes compromised.
Okay, so if they have a problem with a sewer failing and maybe they have, for example, new SDR plastic sewer pipe, and maybe on a situation like this where the gaskets fail and they have roots that are entering through here, it may not require a full excavation. We are able to use a system like a packer that allows us to actually just put a small piece of liner material, and we can cut this down to 1 foot, 3 foot, or 6 feet, or really go longer, and just do a one-spot repair without having to do any type of excavation. Now, when would be a time that we need to actually dig up and replace a sewer line or a section of a sewer line?
So perfect example of that, Nate, would be this right here. This is what we would refer to as a collapsed piece of pipe. You can see on the top here where the top of the pipe has caved in and that pipe has dropped and fell inside of the pipe. We do not have a way to get that out without actually digging that spot up. So that's when we'd have to do that, is if that pipe actually collapsed all the way.
Okay. Yeah, and I know that there's a term called bellies in our industry. What is a belly, and how can those be lined? Is that going to fix that problem?
No, sir, you cannot line a belly. A belly, what that is our sewer pipes they come in joints, either 5 to 8 foot sections or in 14-foot sections. Over time, as the earth turns and moves, that pipe separates. When it separates, the water starts to slowly leak out of the joints. So this would be a perfect example. So here you have the pipe together, but if that thing sinks and sags, now you can see that the pipe is no longer lined up. That water is going to escape the pipe, go underneath, create a void underneath the dirt, and cause that pipe to drop. When it does that, like I said earlier, those pipes are in sections. So if one joint breaks like that, it then puts pressure on the joints going both ways, and that's what creates that belly.
Yeah, and this is a prime example of what a typical belly looks like. And even in bedding practices, if water tends to pool, we basically cause a pool where the sloping isn't correct. When it drains off normally, you can see all the debris tends to drain off with it. But what tends to happen is those joints will break in the middle, causing debris to settle and get stuck inside of the pipe. Now, if that's the situation that you're in, we do recommend that you do dig up your sewer for at least that section. We may be able to rehabilitate the rest of the line, but there are many solutions that we offer here at Expert Services to be able to help take care of clients' problems. And Micah is a great sewer expert, and he would love the opportunity to come out and take a look. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Just that if you guys are experiencing any kind of issues whatsoever, us at Expert Services, myself especially, we'd love to come to your home and present you with some options to give you some peace of mind to where you don't have to deal with this anymore.
All right, you heard it from the best. Give us a call if you'd like to learn more about any sewer solutions, drain-related issues, or anything else, plumbing, heating, air, electrical problems. And Micah is a